All right, drone video for track 26 at Panther Hollow. Very private tract toward the end of the easement road. We're looking basically west on the easement road, so the property is on the right, about where that big mound of dirt is. That's from when they widened out the road. I think we're going to back up and kind of come at the property from the south, it looks like. Okay. So looking basically northerly, the property sits on the right, little section of meadow, then it transitions to timber, and the vast majority of this property is wooded. Gorgeous area. Southern Wright County, Missouri, just beautiful. There we go. Okay, track 26 is us. The yellow squiggly line is actually where we drove on the property. We had the tracking on map right. The blue line is a little seasonal creek bed that crosses over the property. When we drove out there, it wasn't flowing. We have been out there when it has been flowing. So the property slopes down toward that little seasonal creek bed, then it rises up, and there's actually a big ridge more toward the east side. Oh, topo map, perfect. So the topo is showing us from the easement road, as you go east, it slopes down to the little creek bed. It then rises back up, and if you look toward the east side, the right side of the property is a large level area. So that is back there. That could potentially be an awesome spot for building or camping or hunting. There is an existing site. The little yellow squiggly line is where we drove down to it. The white area is actually what used to be pasture. These maps were done generally in the 50s, and the white indicated pasture. So originally that pasture meadow went all the way down to the little seasonal creek bed on the property, and at some point someone quit maintaining part of that pasture and it grew back up. Still some pasture. So we're going to orient ourselves kind of northerly here. A little tricky to see from the air, but it's a portion of that pasture that's on the property. It does have the road frontage, then it gets wider as we go to the east. And this video, I believe, was taken after that site was created, the driveway and site in the timber, although maybe not, so we might not see that in the video. Big timber on this tract. It's going to be mostly hardwood trees, red oaks, white oaks, hickories. The deer love it out here. They absolutely love the oak trees because the acorns are one of their main foods that they eat. Well, I don't know if there's a little site on here. I don't see it. I'm pretty sure there was one, so maybe we'll see it when we fly back. Off in the distance is Bryant Creek. Actually, it's not too far from the property. So we're moving easterly. You can see how the land has risen up, and there's a large level ridge on that east side. So that would give you, if you wanted a big level building site, I think that east side could be ideal for that. You'd have to create some kind of trailer driveway. But that's what we're looking at right now, where it levels off, and we saw that on the topo map as well. I mean, you've got the potential for awesome views up there, plus a big level site. So now looking basically northwest at the level area on the property. I was kind of hoping that we'd get down and get a look at that big timber, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. The extreme northern portion of the property slopes down steeply, but really it's just the northern tip. Now off in the distance you can see the red truck, so we're looking essentially west over the property back to the easement road. And now we're going to get a little closer to the level ridge and some of that big timber. Once the property's been paid for in full, you of course at that point could log it, could cut the trees for a home, could cut the trees for firewood. It'd be a shame to cut the big mature trees for firewood, because obviously they'd be more valuable as either lumber or logs for a log home. That's after you've paid for the property in full. In the meantime, we're often able to grant written permission to remove mature timber if you're doing an improvement, so like a driveway or a site, a building site. So you can contact us for details on that. But it's pretty simple process. So now we're drifting back to the west as we look to the north. The property, I believe it goes back far enough. I believe that meadow extends back far enough from the easement road that you could be beyond the setback distance and still be in the meadow. But the meadow does have a little bit of a slope to it, so you want to keep that in mind. Well, we know this property does have a site because we could see that on the map where we drove down into the timber. So check the listing page to check that out, but I'm sure we have a ground video of the site. Oh, maybe now we're going back to double check. I'm guessing the driveway is right where you see where that dirt's been disturbed right there. And let's see what we can see here. It's tough with the big timber because it obscures the ground. You really can't see what's going on down there. That might be a driveway. And we'll know in just a moment if we see any sign of a clearing within the timber. And yeah, that's what that is. So that is the driveway starts at the edge of the meadow, goes down, levels out somewhat, right down almost adjacent to that little seasonal creek bed. So again, it seems to me that the more ideal site would be to cross the little seasonal creek bed and go up to that large flat ridge area. But I mean, that would certainly add some value to this property if you were to go ahead and do that. But meantime, you do have a site, usable site that's very private, out of view. Gorgeous tract. Beautiful out here. The deer and turkey are phenomenal. It's super private, super peaceful, but I mean, you're close to power and phone. You've got the original farm less than a quarter mile from this tract. Mansfield, Missouri, about 5 miles to the northeast. Ava, Missouri, about 10 miles to the south, or maybe the southwest. Not sure about that. Mansfield is right on Highway 60, and once you hit Highway 60, you can go east to Mountain Grove, which has quite a few stores and a super Walmart. You can go west and you'll hit Seymour, you'll hit several little towns, and then you'll come to Springfield, Missouri, which is the largest city in southern Missouri. So, and we ran out of videos. So if you have any questions, give us a shout, send us an email. We would love to talk to you.